Hi everyone, welcome to our lesson of the day. Today we're going to learn how to build the base part of our robot. So it's got a kind of a T shape. It starts out narrow, gets wider in the middle, and then gets narrow again up here. It's got all these joints cut in it to connect it to the side panels, as well as, you can't see it, but in each of the four corners there's a little tab that sticks out that goes into that side panel and really locks it into place and holds everything really well. So that's the piece that we're looking to build right now. Let's get to it. First thing I'm gonna do before I start building actually is I chose this dark wood and it is killing my eyes when I'm trying to do drawing or sketches on it. So I'm gonna hit A real quick, bring up the appearance panel, and I'm gonna change out the appearance to bamboo. And just live with the fact that the yellow looks ugly on the bamboo. I can live with that. I'm gonna hit close here. Next thing I want to do is I want to organize my bodies a little better. I've got two kinds of bodies, 3D printed ones and plywood ones. Because I'm getting so many bodies, it's going to help to start organizing them better. So I'm going to right click on here and go new group, double click on the group, and I'm going to call this one plywood. And then right click on the bodies and do new group, and then call this one 3D print. Now I'm going to grab the panel. So the outside panel, I'm going to hold down the control key and click on the rest of the panel. So inside panel, outside panel. I'm going to drag those up into the plywood. I'm going to turn the plywood folder off. And yep, that's all of them. And then I'm going to take the rest of these and I'm just going to, to click all of them, I'm going to click on the first one, hold down the shift instead of the control key, and that will, and then click on the last one, and that will highlight everything in between. It's called shift clicking. I'm going to grab those, drag them into the 3D print folder, and now I can turn those off when I need to. So I'm going to just turn the plywood on because it's going to help me sort of stay focused on what I need without all the distraction of the 3D printed parts. So what I want to do is I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to do so in a very specific place. So I'm going to zoom in here so you can see what I'm grabbing. I don't want this outside piece, I want this top little edge. Anywhere on this edge is totally fine. So I want somewhere on this little platform there. That'll rotate me around to this view. Okay. Now I need to mark where all my other stuff is, because if I turn off my plywood bodies, notice I only have this one little rectangle marked on my drawing. I want to mark where everything else is. So I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to do turn the plywood back on. I'm going to do a cool thing called intersect. So I'm going to create, down to project include, I'm going to choose intersect. Now what this does is I'm going to make sure the intersect is set to bodies and not features. I'm going to tip it so you can see what it's going to do. Notice that my sketch, you can see where the sketch is going through the plywood, like right along through there. So as I click on these, what it's going to do, it's going to mark the shape of the plywood as it passes through the sketch. So I can see where it is on my sketch at that moment. And so I'm going to click OK there. And I'm going to tip back up this way. And now I'm going to hide the plywood. And that shows me where all the plywood is. Notice here that this little line across here shows me where the plywood starts coming up out of the sketch. So when I'm doing this, I want to create a piece of plywood that goes in here, out both directions here, and then through the middle here. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the top view. Then I'm gonna rotate back around. If you haven't noticed, these little arrows on the outside here, they'll actually rotate you 90 degrees to have you orient your sketch however you want. All right, first things first, I'm gonna turn off those plywood bodies so they're not in the way. Now I'm gonna come over here and grab my line tool. I'm gonna connect a line right across the front here. I'm going to do the same thing across the back. Notice how my infill turned to blue. That means it's fully sealed off. If yours didn't turn light blue, it's probably because you didn't quite connect one of these corners and there's a gap up there. You have to zoom in on each corner and try to figure out where the mistake happened at. If you need help, ask. I'm here for it. Next thing we want to do is we're going to actually come from this inside one over, and then this inside one over. Remember, that line is where the plywood comes up and out. We want to have, that's where our T is going to be. And this other one, we're not going to connect these two lines. If we do, we're going to actually cut into the wheel well cover. So we're going to back them off just a little bit. I'm going to create a line here, all the way across to here. And do the same thing on the other side. Doesn't really matter where. We're going to center them and just. We're going to line them up in just a second. Now, these two are going to be directly across from each other. There's a really cool tool for that. It's called collinear. So I'm going to hit Escape to leave the line tool. I'm going to come up here and find the collinear tool. It's like a black line, a red line lined up with each other. I'm going to click on it. And then I'm going to click on this line and then click on the line across from it. And it puts this weird little symbol on it. And what that symbol means is that these two lines are stuck together now, like across from each other now. Escape. So now if I take and I drag this line, the other line moves with it. So that's a pretty cool tool to use if you need things to be lined up with each other. So D for dimensioning. I'm going to click on this line here that I just drew. And I'm going to click on either the line here or one of the dots on this. I'm going to say that distance should be 10 millimeters. That feels big. Let's do 5 instead. I think 5 makes more sense. We'll see if we clear. All right. Finish sketch. I'm going to turn the plywood back on. I'm going to show you why I just pushed this line off a little bit. You might think, well, why not just connect it across here? And I'll show you why. When I put the 3D printed parts on it, look at it from a view here, tip it. Yeah, you can see it here. If we drew a line straight across this corner, the plastic is still moving out this way because we're going to take our plywood and we're going to actually extrude it down in this direction. It would actually cut and hit into the wheelbase or the wheel cover, and then that we have to like cut it off later. So we pulled the plywood back a little bit so as it goes down, it won't ever hit the the wheel cover here. Awesome. That's something I learned the hard way by cutting a piece and then it not fitting, and I had to go back and redo it. Let's see. I'm gonna go back to this view, and now we're gonna extrude. So I'm gonna E for extrude, and I want to extrude that main piece there. I want to extrude that little piece, that piece, and this piece, and these 3 pieces as well. And that's my T shape. And now I'm going to extrude this 1 thickness. So I'm going to come over here and type in TH, enter, and then let's gotta see which way we're going. Oh, we went the wrong way. So notice how we extruded up. What we want to do here actually is extrude down. So I'm going to come over here to the thickness and put in negative, and oh, that's much better. Now it thinks I want to cut because I'm going down into the other plywood piece. I don't want to cut. I want to do a new body. And then I'm going to click OK. And that's our base. And right now our base is inside the side piece because we haven't cut these little finger joints yet, and we'll do that next. All right, before I get to anything else, I'm going to turn off my 3D printed parts so I can't see them. Because what I'm going to do next is going to be cutting around them. I don't want to actually accidentally cut them as well. So I'll turn them off so I can't cut them. Okay, next thing we're going to do, let's hold it for the next video. So in the next video, what we're going to do is cut these little finger joints and then cut the base and get everything else ready to go. Great job so far. Hang in there.